consider others before you consider yourself, to protect your brother even from himself, to give support at your own expense, and when wearing the black and gold suit of armor, make sure nobody desecrates it, disrespects it. Most importantly, we ourselves don't dishonor it. From previous legends who have donned the black and gold. These virtues I learned while playing for the Steelers are what make the legacy of the black and gold timeless. They are passed down in the locker room from the steel curtain to anyone who valiantly wears the black and gold. Creating a brotherhood that is deeper than money, business, and winning. To be a Steeler is to consider others before you consider yourself. This is our culture, Steeler culture.
Now, here are your hosts, Rob and Dan, the Steel Twins.
Steeler Nation, how are we doing on this Wednesday afternoon? Thank you guys for tuning in on another edition of the Steeler Culture Podcast, where this is powered by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And we are here live to talk about the Steelers and Raiders upcoming matchup for Week 6. The Steelers, unfortunately, coming off 2 straight losses. The Raiders coming off a blowout matchup against the Denver Broncos, where both teams need a win desperately.
How's everyone feeling after that Cowboys game? Is anyone feeling any better? Has anyone caught up on sleep yet? The answer to both, for me personally, is no.
I'm still feeling the effects of that. I mean, like, granted, we had to wait an hour and a half for that on Sunday night, and just the way that it all came down to and it transpired, yeah, it's still
lingering a little bit.
It's still a recovering process.
There will be no weather delay, though. This is a 4:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time start in Allegiant Stadium over in Las Vegas. For the Raiders, this is going to be one of those games where we go into it hoping for a dub, expecting a dub, and we should definitely walk out with a dub because the Raiders are dysfunctional. The Raiders aren't anything right now.
Not just from a football team aspect, but from an organization aspect. The Raiders are a dumpster fire.
But that's exactly why I am terrified heading into this game because, one, the Raiders always play us tough. Despite the fact the Steelers have beat the Raiders the last 2 years, Steeler already.
Steeler Lee, thank you with a $4.99. He says, just to be fair, though, why would anyone really expect Tomlin to throw GP under the bus in a press conference? He's never done that to any other wide receiver.
No, he's not. He's not going to outwardly tell you what the problem is, or he's not going to throw anyone under the bus. He's dealt with situations like this before. He's going to have a cover-up for something of such of Pickens' shenanigans and his lack of effort, and Tomlin actually admitted that his laziness on routes was a reason why he limited his snaps.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that. We'll get into the Steelers and Raiders discussion. We got a lot to talk about regarding this game, regarding the Raiders, regarding the Steelers, regarding a lot of injuries for both teams. There's a lot of them. And for the Steelers, man, specifically on the edge group, we are absolutely
bare.
Very bare. To the point, Isaiah Loudermilk is going to have to play edge time. Yes, that, Isaiah Loudermilk.
Yeah, good old number 92. We're going to see 92 potentially on the edge this upcoming Sunday.
I'd rather get 40-year-old 92.
Like Tomlin may have to call up Debo.
I know Debo is about to have a boxing match with Chad Ochocinco right before the Super Bowl, but he can kind of pause training for that. We need to get him back in the game for the Raiders. What's he doing nowadays? I'm sure he's free. He's got a lot of free time.
He's still in great shape for his age.
Obviously, Debo, man, stays in shape.
Yeah, Debo, man. Shout out to James Harrison.
Thank you guys for joining us. I almost said tonight because we're used to streaming during the nighttime. This is more of an early live stream, so thank you guys for joining us this afternoon. This is earlier of a preview than we usually do. We typically wait till Thursday or Friday to do it, but we got plans tomorrow night and Friday night, so we're going to do this early. Plus, it's Steelers Raiders. There's not really much to look into to this game. It's just we got to win a game. We can't lose 3 straight. We can't have that. We just can't go into this game losing 3 straight after starting 3-0. That would be absolutely bad as we inch closer to the bye week.
Of course.
We can't suffer that. But thank you guys for joining us. Shout out to you guys in the chat. There was a poll for you guys. How many touchdowns scored in this game? Now, I'm not talking in particular to any team. I'm just saying in general as a whole. How many touchdowns do you guys think is scored in this game? And, of course, the majority of you guys say 1 and 2. I think that's expected.
Well, let me say this right here, right now, before we actually get into it. I expect this matchup to be very low scoring and, for the most part, defensive.
Yes, I agree. As a matter of fact, this is the perfect timing to transition, man. I want to thank BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring today's live stream, today's preview for the Steelers versus Raiders preview matchup for Week 6. You guys see they got all the Week 6 betting lines already up on the BetUS.com website. You got Thursday Night Football here. You guys can place your wagers. We got a great game tomorrow night for 49ers and Seahawks. As you guys know, we got all of the matchups here, including the Commanders and Ravens. And you have, in my personal opinion, the lock of the week. We got the Eagles and Browns. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, without a doubt.
So I'm going to go with my upset of the week, and I'm going to go with my lock of the week. So I'm going to take the Commanders' money line, and I'm going to take the Eagles' money line. And I'm going to combine that into a parlay, and I'm going to put a whole 32 on it. Why 32? Because Franco Harris. That's why.
Yes, sir.
So we can win $95 here. I'm going to place this. I'm going to confirm it if you guys want to tail this, or if you guys want to get into any of the action here, you guys can do that at BetUS.com. They even have the betting lines up already for the Steelers versus Raiders matchup. As you see, the over-under is 36. I think everyone believes it's going to be the under here. So if you guys are very confident in that, feel free to do that. But the Steelers are 3-point favorites. That still scares me.
It scares me as well there.
But you guys want to put in any wagers, feel free to do so. Go to BetUS.com and take advantage of the 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up today at BetUS.com, and take care of all those perks. Take advantage of all that. Thanks to BetUS for sponsoring today's live stream. Just please gamble responsibly. Yeah, the Steelers and Raiders, man, tons of history.
Yeah, we already know the Immaculate Reception, the various playoff matchups back in the 70s, and just the history between the franchises and even the fan bases. Like, these are 2 loyal fan bases right here with Steeler Nation and Raider Nation.
2 diehards, man. 2 diehard nations. You got to give respect to the Raiders and their fan base for that. Seriously, they've been through a lot the past number of years. A lot.
Probably a lot more than they imagine, but there's no denying that they are passionate, diehard fans that just go through it all and are still going through it as we speak.
Steer Lee in the chat says, don't bet on any Steelers offensive players if you like your money. To the point, not only in betting, Rob is benching Najee Harris this week.
Dude, I've started Najee for 5 weeks. He's gotten me at most 13 points. Why should I start Najee here? Not like we can run the ball anyway. Not like Najee is not predictable. He's so predictable.
Well, especially since now Cordell Patterson is confirmed out again for a second straight week, and Jaylen Warren is doubtful, which you might as well just say he's out.
Might as well mark him as out.
He's going to be lucky to be limited all week. If he's limited all week, he could be lined up to questionable, but I wouldn't anticipate Warren to play. I would still anticipate Najee, Jonathan Ward, and Aaron Shamklin to be the backfield, plus Justin Fields. But the Raiders defense, man, we're going to start with the Steelers offense and the Raiders defense. The Raiders defense, I got to say, man, they have been honestly dealt a bad hand. They have had so many injuries already for the season. They've had injuries before they even started the season, before the start of week 1.
Yeah, they have.
Malcolm Kuhn was on IR right before week 1. Max Crosby is the dog there. He is the legit guy in the edge group. He's one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. 5 sacks already this season. He's averaging a sack a game. I think that's top 5 in the league. So you know what Max Crosby is going to bring to the table. He's going up against Broderick Jones on the right side. We're going to need Broderick to have one of his best games all season.
Broderick's really going to have to step up in this one.
This is a big test for Broderick at right tackle. He's really going to have to step up. He's going to have to be leaned on a lot here. I'd anticipate a lot of chipping for Max Crosby. Opposite of Crosby, they didn't really have anybody. They got Charles Snowden, who was undrafted and picked up by the Bears a couple years ago. I think he's starting opposite now. They drafted Tyree Wilson last year, 7th overall. He has done little to nothing.
I don't think he's not a starter. He's actually the backup according to the depth chart on ESPN. He's the backup to Crosby.
Can you say Cleveland Farrell 2.0?
Oh, without a doubt, absolutely. No question about it. But and they lost Christian Wilkins. Like Christian Wilkins, he was having a very solid start. You know, he was given Boku Bucks, a big contract from the Raiders in free agency this past offseason. But unfortunately, he suffered an injury last week against Denver, and he's expected to be placed on IR after undergoing surgery to repair a Jones fracture in his foot.
Yes.
That's a big loss by the Raiders on the defensive line there.
So they're already without a lot of starters on that defense, specifically in that front 7. But that front 7 is led by Robert Spillane, former Steeler legend. He's actually the leading tackler. He has one of only 2 picks so far forced by the Raiders defense. So it's good to see Spillane shine and be a starter and get some production for them, man.
Yeah, and be that leader in the front 7. Like, I have nothing but respect for Spillane. Wasn't exactly the most productive player when he was with the Steelers, but just seeing him be given that opportunity and him actually shining his first 2 years with the Raiders, he's been very productive. And I'm happy for Spillane. I really am. You know, he's living life right now. You know, he's got a big money contract. You know, he's a starter, a key starter for the Raiders. You know, he's just living the life right now, and he's a hell of a player for the Raiders right now.
Yeah, he is one of their playmakers for them. I'm very happy to see his success, and he's going to go up against his former team, man. He's going to be that.
For the second time.
Yeah, he's going to be that green dot. I think they got Tommy Eichenberg as their opposite guy, opposite of him. You know, they don't really have much to offer outside of that. Their secondary, they got Mohrig, they got Jacorian Bennett from, I think, Maryland.
Nate Hobbs, he's been their nickel guy for some time. And at safety, they have Isaiah Polamalu, who is Troy Polamalu's nephew.
Yes.
So you have to think this may be a bittersweet matchup for him, considering, you know, he watched his uncle play for the Steelers, obviously.
Right.
You have to think this is a big matchup for him.
Absolutely. So you look at that defense. There's not much to offer outside of Spillane and Crosby and you know, certain guys. But to be honest with you, I think they're better than what it shows. They've just been dealt a bad hand because, one, the injuries, and they're constantly on the field because the Raiders' offense can't get anything going.
No.
Nothing. But I don't see how that changes. I don't see how that changes with the Raiders this week because they can't even name a starting quarterback. I didn't know who to put in the thumbnail this week. Was it Gardner? Was it O'Connell? I just flipped a coin, literally.
I told Dan, just put a Raiders helmet and have a black silhouette with a question mark on it.
I might as well just put Antonio Pierce there.
But, I mean, Gardner Minshew was the starting quarterback going into the regular season, but last week he was benched due to his poor play and his heavy turnovers.
Yep.
I think he's turned over the ball at least once every game, if I'm not mistaken.
The Raiders altogether, as an offense, as a whole, has turned the ball over at least once every game this year.
I mean, it just goes to show.
They can't stay on the field. They can't stop turning the ball over, and they can't get anything going. They have little to nothing to offer, especially since Davante Adams is on his way out any week now, and he is not likely to play in this game. I'm hoping that's because he'll play on the other side, but I wish.
I mean, color me shocked. I don't see Davante Adams putting on a Raiders uniform again. I don't see him stepping foot for the Raiders wherever they are.
No, but because of all that, the defense has no help. It reminds me a lot of what the Steelers defense had to go through the past couple years because the offense couldn't get anything going. 3 and outs constantly, turning the ball over, not getting anything going. So predictable. They offer nothing. And it doesn't help that they have the same offensive coordinator that was Justin Fields' offensive coordinator his last 2 years in Chicago.
That's right.
They have Luke Getsy as their offensive coordinator. His last 2 years in Chicago, or his only 2 years, he was the offensive coordinator in Chicago with Justin Fields at quarterback. He led the Bears offense in 2022 to the 28th ranked offense, and in 2023 they ranked 20th. The Raiders come into this game ranking 24th.
Yeah.
This guy is not a good offensive coordinator.
Now, there's a reason why he was fired by Eberflus, the Bears head coach.
Yes.
Just not a productive coordinator, just not a guy that you want to go with.
And the Raiders thought that signing him to be their offensive coordinator was a good idea.
Yeah, well,
this guy offers nothing.
While not being aggressive and going after a true quarterback.
This guy offers nothing.
No, he hasn't.
Like, honestly, I felt bad for Justin Fields in Chicago because he had him as his offensive coordinator, and now I feel bad for the talent in Las Vegas because they have him as their offensive coordinator. He might not make it till December at this point. It might be another one of those Raiders situations where they bring in someone, and he's not on the team for much longer. He's only there for the team for like a year or half a year or something so short, and such a short tenure.
Then he gets the boot. He's kicked out the door. Typical Raiders move.
Luke Getsy does not offer much as an offensive coordinator. So all in all, the defense has nothing to get help. They have no help whatsoever. Doesn't help that they're just hurt. They're on the field constantly. They haven't been able to force many turnovers. Again, they only have 2 picks all year, and that's something I feel like the offense had to take advantage of, the Steelers offense. You know, I feel like this offense has the capabilities of, I don't want to say breakout, because breakout is like 30 points a game, and I don't think this offense is capable of that yet. But,
no, I mean,
but of expressing some potential, of getting aggressive. They just refuse to. But this is a game where they can literally go into Las Vegas, into the Raiders Stadium, Allegiant Stadium.
Enemy territory, basically.
And show out. They have the weapons for the most part. They got Pickens. We're going to have Najee again. We need to use Muth more. We need to use Darnell Washington more. I feel like we got to use Fields' legs more. Like, they have the capabilities of getting aggressive and going down the field. They've actually did it a couple times the past couple of weeks. They have the potential.
Before the Cowboys game, they showcased that here and there. Like, they were showcasing that, hey, we can get down the field. You know, we can win time of possession.
Right.
They haven't been able to get points on the board as often as we like to.
Their failure is that.
Coming into this game, 5 weeks into the season, they are averaging about, I think, 18.4 points per game. Not much different compared to Matt Canada's offense, which is frustrating.
Yeah.
I hate to see it considering we got new OC, new quarterback, different talent on the roster, you know, guys coming into the second year, and nothing. Basically nothing outside of a couple productive drives, but it leads to either a Boswell field goal, him winning us the game by field goals, or just no points at all.
Right. The past 2 games, the offense has just done nothing. Fields tried to bring us back versus the Colts, but clearly the defense just wasn't helping. Honestly, it was too far gone for a comeback to even happen. And we had a chance at the last drive of the game until center issues happened, snap issues happened again, amongst other issues throughout that game. Last week, they didn't do anything. They didn't even try to do anything. They just relied on the ground game way too much, which they couldn't gain any traction on one of the worst rushing defenses in the league. And they continued to try to run the ball and found little to no success. And they refused to throw the ball down the field against a hurt and poor Cowboys secondary. They're going up against a similar matchup this week. They have to get aggressive, man. They got to open the playbook. Mike Tomlin even said, like, they feel like they're right at the break of breaking the door open for the offense.
I'm waiting for when they kick that door down.
I don't know how he sees that. I just see them going backwards from last week. But if he feels that way, then hopefully he has the ambition of getting more aggressive, of starting faster, of getting points on the board, of chucking it down the field, of having Arthur Smith draw up some players to make plays down the field. Like, you know, certain guys can't create separation. You know, certain guys can't get open. So draw up plays where they can make plays down the field, where they can get open. Allow them to get open. It's a lot easier said than done. Players got to execute on the play designs, but you got to get a little more aggressive here. You can't be conservative. You can't rely on the same game plan as last week. If you do that, then honestly, man, I don't feel good about this Raider game.
I mean, I don't in general coming into this game. Like, my fear is that they're going to lose 3 straight, especially to a team like the Raiders. Like, that would just be that would really have the team down bad.
Imagine.
And I feel like we are right now, coming off 2 straight losses and a disappointing loss against Dallas in primetime. Like, the offense needs to be progressive. They need to bounce back. They need to do something. They need to do something productive and positive. They can't be doing no conservativeness. I've stated for weeks that they have to limit the conservative drives and the lazy play calling. But they haven't. They haven't limited that. They just kept going with that. They kept going with that mentality, that motion.
Yeah, they kept going to that well way too often. Eventually, it got dry. It got very dry.
I mean, it's the definition of insanity. Like, you do something that's not panning out, but you keep doing it. I mean, like, what do you expect to change?
Right.
Nothing.
And now we're going into this game with the very same offense as last week. We're not getting Cordero back. We're not getting Warren back. I would doubt it. We're going in with the same squad, the same starting lineup. I would hope Pickens gets more playing time. I know why Tomlin limited him, but at the same time, I don't know why you're not involving him in the game plan as much as you should. At the same time, Pickens has to be more professional. He has to show more effort. I'm hoping that whatever went down between those two, whatever discussions or whatever they had talked about, they talked it out, and hopefully we get a better situation this week. We're going to need to. Because, again, we go into the same game with last week's game plan. We go into this game with last week's game plan. It's not going to end well. So this is the game where the offense is literally going to, they have to do more. They can't be lazy. They can't just rely on the bare minimum. Again, I don't give a damn how bad the Raiders are. I don't care how dysfunctional they are. I don't care how bad their offense is. You cannot rely on doing nothing on offense and just hoping that the defense can make plays on an offense that doesn't even have a starting quarterback right now.
No, and keep in mind, the defense the past 2 weeks has been fucking awful.
You should be looking at that Raiders defense. You should be looking at that Raiders defense and licking your chops. How can we get the ball to Pickens down the field? How can we create running lanes for Najee Harris? How can we use Fields' legs to get down the field? How can we use Pat Frymuth up the seams? How can we use Darnell Washington's size and let him use his yak ability?
Could we utilize Calvin Austin's speed in different variations?
Calvin Austin had a touchdown versus the Raiders last week in primetime.
Last year in primetime.
Last year.
He had that bomb from Kenny Pickett. Yeah, it was a beautiful, drawn-up play. Try to utilize Austin's speed a little bit.
Right. This is a game where the offense is going to have to open everything. They can't go in with the same game plan as last week. That is a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for loss. If they do that again, man, I already don't have hope about this offense anymore, knowing that Tomlin and coaching are just going to rely on the same bullshit they tried to rely on the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But if they do that again, man, you might as well just pack it up.
Yeah, especially if they keep doing the wide receiver rotations and decreasing Pickens' playing time and his snaps for a guy like Van Jefferson, who has 62 yards on the season, 5 weeks in as our wide receiver too.
That's it.
Scotty Miller, who hasn't really done much at all. He's nothing but a depth guy.
Yeah.
Roman Wilson, I don't know if he's going to be playing. Probably not. He's probably not going to be playing until after the bye week. That's my anticipation.
Good.
So we literally have nobody outside of George Pickens.
No, but I still feel like they drew up plays for Connor Hayward. They drew up plays for Van Jefferson last week.
If anything,
the failure of execution was the problem.
That's where the players are going to have to work on. They have to get better at catching the ball and executing on those plays. That's drawn up. But
yeah, the drops hurt.
If the depth at wide receiver isn't standing up, then yeah, use the tight ends more.
Agreed.
Like, you were using Connor Hayward a little bit more. You're using Darnell Washington a little bit more in the receiving threat, right? Like we know what Mute's capable of when he's actually utilized middle of the field and whatnot.
Yeah.
When he's drawn up, even insert him in the slot a little bit because he is a receiving type of player. Like,
he's a threat.
You utilize these tight ends a bit more. And we know how much Arthur Smith loves to utilize the tight ends.
Yeah, so start drawing up plays where we can literally use them to exploit that defense.
I just feel that all that is just limited, and I don't know why.
I don't know either.
There's no reason for limitations.
I don't get it. I just looked at Andy Dalton's stats versus the Raiders.
Andy Dalton, yeah.
319 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
This is a Raiders team that has so far given the Panthers their only sole win all year. And last week, they allowed 30 points to the Broncos. The same Broncos team that the Steelers beat in week 2. They shut out on offense for the most part.
Got 2 interceptions off Bo Nix.
And Bo Nix, man, what did he throw? A touchdown last week? He could have had 2 if Troy Franklin didn't drop an easy deep pass in the bucket. Like, this is a Raiders defense that he threw 2 touchdowns. 206 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is career highs. for Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Like, if you're trying to break down that door like Tomlin is trying to insinuate, this is the game to do it.
100%.
The proof is in the pudding. The film is out there. This offense has to get aggressive.
But I fear that they're not. I fear that they're just going to keep going with the same game plan that's been the case for the past half decade. That's my worry. That's why I fear because,
Mine too.
Despite that the Raiders are pure dumpster, they're garbage, it's in Raiders territory. And we all know how the Steelers are in Raiders territory.
Yes, no matter if it's in Oakland, no matter if it's in Vegas, no matter if it's overseas, if that ever happens.
If it's in Mark Davis's freaking childhood home, like whatever, right? It doesn't matter. Like when the Steelers are in Raiders territory, it's always a tough matchup. It's always going to be a tough game for the Steelers.
Yes. In fact, the Raiders lead the series 17-15. And we all know the history. A lot of rich history between these two teams.
So despite the fact that the Panthers stood out against the Raiders, and that was in the Raiders Stadium, that was in Allegiant Stadium.
Right.
And despite the fact that the Broncos put up over 30 points last week.
Could have had 40.
Like, yeah, you're sitting there thinking, yeah, the Steelers could 100%, they have the capabilities of doing it. And yes, they do. They have the upside. They have the capabilities of doing it.
The problem is, like, they've shown the aggressive nature several times this year. Fields loves to chuck the ball deep. We've hit Pickens deep several times. We hit Calvin Austin deep a couple times. This is the game where they can really draw up some plays, and it's just up to the players to execute.
I just don't know if it's a coaching issue, which it probably is. I don't know if it's a consistent issue, which it probably is. It's probably a combination of both.
I think it's
probably a combination of various other things that the Steelers need to figure out.
It's a safe issue. They're too safe.
Probably one of the biggest reasons.
It's too safe. But I just think this is a game where the offense can really open things up. They have to. If there's a game that you can give me some confidence and some hope that, hey, maybe the offense is improving, maybe we are going to get some certain guys involved, maybe you can give me a little glimmer of hope. That way, if we do get Davante Adams, I'm a little more excited about it. Or when Roman Wilson finally wants to play, or when Mike Tomlin finally wants to have Roman Wilson play, that'll get me even more excited to see what he could offer to the team, to the offense. So this is the game the offense is going to have to open things up. I know that they're only going to have Najee as the bell cow again. The Raiders' rush defense, I'd say it's solid. It's not great. It's not good, but it's solid.
But the fact that they're losing a key piece in Christian Wilkins in that part, then that could obviously decrease their ability to stop the run. And that's where the Steelers are going to have to take advantage of that. And that's why they have to attack. But they didn't even do that against Dallas last week. And they lost two of their key front seven players in Lawrence and Parsons for that game. And the Steelers couldn't get anything going into rush defense.
But here's my glimmer of hope. Here's my benefit of the doubt. Sayamalu had his first game back last week. And after getting pancaked and allowing a strip sack, he did better. He's back in his second game. He's kind of more acclimated to the football shape, right?
Yeah.
Mason McCormick, he's back at right guard again. He'll be back at right guard probably the rest of the season.
Yeah.
He looked good in my opinion. He looked really good. He can create lanes. He's a people mover. So the fact that he's going to be a little more comfortable in that area could offer some more lanes for Najee. I would hope. My problem with the rushing or the rushing offense and the run blocking is primarily Broderick Jones.
Which is crazy because I feel like he's a better run blocker than a pass blocker.
Sure.
I feel like his pass blocking is still very raw.
But last week, he couldn't withstand a block in the ground game, and he kept missing his assignments.
And that's been a key thing all season. I'm not sure if you guys noticed from the All-22 film, but there's been several times that if you look at Broderick's direction, when he goes for an assignment block or whatnot, like he misses his guy.
I don't know if
And then he looks at the other player, like, what are you doing? It's like, no, Broderick, what are you doing? That was your guy. That was your assignment.
Agreed.
And then you're pointing the blame at, like, Freiermuth or whoever. It's like, Broderick, that was your guy.
I don't know if it's a miscommunication issue or lack of effort. I don't know. But that's got to get better now.
It does, 100%.
Because I feel like there are lanes Najee can find and run. It's just a matter of the missed assignments from a lot of the linemen, specifically on that right side. They're going to have to improve in this game, and they have all the capabilities of doing so.
But going up against a guy like Max Crosby, that's going to be even more challenging.
Maybe that's why they lean more towards the left side. Dan Moore is still a solid blocker. Sayamalu's the vet. Zach Frazier's a dog in the ground game. So they could very much stay away from Max Crosby and run more towards the left side.
And the left side, I feel like, is obviously the weaker side there. They don't really have anybody of high notoriety there and of high impact, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
Well, it doesn't help they have a lot of depth guys starting.
So, yeah, attack their weak link. Attack that area.
So, again, this offense, they're going to need to be a lot better. They got to start faster. They got to be more aggressive. Anything less than I wouldn't anticipate anything crazy from the offense. I wouldn't anticipate anything high scoring. I don't know what really to expect except what we've seen the last couple weeks until it got too late. But speaking of that, we can't just start opening the playbook in the second half. We got to start a little faster. Okay, Tomlin has insinuated, he's noted it several times, but that doesn't mean he's going to address the issue. He just says things because
It's just the media up.
it
It shuts
does
people up.
And truthfully, it's factual information. Like, yeah, we got to start off faster in the first half. He said that the last 3 weeks. Well, can we? Like, this is the game to do it. This is a really favorable matchup, but at the same time, I still don't expect the offense to open things up. I hope they do. I know they can. The matchup is favorable on paper, but this offense is still just conservative and doing the bare minimum. They can't do that in this game.
No.
Otherwise, against the Raiders offense, the Steelers defense, man, the defense, they've been mid the past 2 weeks. The first 3 weeks, they were incredible. The past 2 weeks, they've been mid, specifically in coverage. They can't stop nobody. They can't cover themselves in a blanket on a cold winter night if they try.
No,
they can't cover nobody.
No, the defense has just been off.
Now, outside of the 3 turnovers last week, they can't cover nobody. They're allowing a lot of chunk yardage. There's missed assignments. There's a bad miscommunication from the corners, from the safeties. Beanie Bishop had himself an awful game last week. I don't know if he continues to start in the nickel. Maybe that's why they're not playing a lot of man. You know, they're playing way too much zone. I don't know why, but a reason for that is because maybe Beanie isn't a good man guy. Maybe Beanie isn't a good man coverage press guy. So they're trying to limit that negative from Beanie, which is just creating a negative all over the field.
Yeah, it is.
So the coverage needs to be better. The assignments need to be better. The communication needs to be on point. The fact that it's week 5 and we're still having miscommunication issues with this defense is a problem. Miscommunication from Dante, from Minka, for Elliott. Like, that can't be no more. That can't. Otherwise, listen, the Raiders don't have much to offer on offense. They don't. Davante Adams won't be in this game. But they still have some decent, reliable targets. Jacoby Myers is not a threatening receiver, but he's always been a reliable target around the NFL.
Yeah.
He's a good 2. He has strong hands. He can get the much-needed yardage. He's nothing crazy. He's not an end zone magnet, but what he is he's a reliable guy that will get up the field when you need him to. That's honestly an incredible trait for any wide receiver. They got Brock Bowers, who's a stud. We know what Brock Bowers can offer. He's probably going up against Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson in coverage. Those guys are really going to have to be on their A game.
Yeah, we got to find a way to limit Brock Bowers. Because of Adams' absence, Bowers is now looked on as the number 1 target for that offense in the receiving game.
And he was last week. That big touchdown he had?
Yeah, and Bowers, I mean, like, my God, he is 100% living up to the first-round pedigree.
Yes.
Like, the guy, like, we knew he was a dog coming out of Georgia, no pun intended, but, this guy's a beast. Like, if the Steelers don't find a way to limit Bowers despite who the quarterback is, whether it's Minshew or O'Connell, it's gonna speak problems for the Steelers defense.
And, dude, the Steelers defense cannot cover the middle of the field to save their lives. And that is exactly where Brock Bowers eats. He had 12 targets last week, almost 100 yards and a touchdown. We got to slow down Bowers.
Brock Bowers, the way the defense and the coverage has been, yeah, that worries me.
That worries me to a big degree. They even got Trey Tucker, who I wouldn't sleep on. I wouldn't sleep on anyone against our defense right now until we see
considering
some
what Dallas
improvement.
did, I mean, how many yards did they get altogether? 445, something like that?
Yes, they had 4 50-yard receivers. Against our secondary, which is fully healthy. We got Minka, we got Elliott, we got Jackson, we got Porter. We just don't have a slot corner.
No, we don't.
We don't. We have miscommunication issues. We got no one to cover the middle of the field. Until we see some improvement, until we see something better, I wouldn't sleep on anybody against our secondary at this point, dude.
No, I mean,
I don't know what happened. I don't know what the issue is, but they got to clean it up. 2 weeks of this shit, and it really cost us last week. Now, they did force the turnovers, which is good. The offense's fault of not capitalizing outside of one of them, which was the JPJ pick. But the defense, man, this chunk yardage, it's only going to catch up to them. And last week, ultimately, it did versus Dallas.
yeah, that's got to stop. That for you to be the highest paid defense and for this high value and projections from these players. Like, the fact that you're giving this up is ridiculous.
And the Raiders, they're going to be pass heavy because they don't have a rushing game.
No, they are 30th in rushing offense. They average 84 flat rushing yards per game. They don't have a legitimate number one back.
They got Zamir White, who's hurt, and now they have Alexander Madison, who they picked up in free agency.
Yeah, Madison last year against Minnesota. I mean, there was a reason why Minnesota was dead last in rushing last year.
And that's why they grabbed Aaron Jones.
And now the Vikings are 5-0.
And the Raiders' O-line sucks.
The only guy that stands out to me is Dylan Parham, their right guard.
Sure.
The guy's been a standout, a stud from what I've seen on tape. Everybody else, awful.
No.
Colton Miller, he's given up 6 sacks. Keep in mind, the Raiders' pass protection this year, they've given up already 5 weeks in 17 sacks. Colton Miller has given up 6 of them.
Wow.
6.
That's pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. For him to be the franchise left tackle, quote unquote, he hasn't really lived up to any of that.
No, he hasn't. And, of course, they got Jackson Powers-Johnson at left guard, not center. At left guard.
Yeah, you guys know the whole draft process. I mean, Jackson Powers-Johnson was the guy that me and Dan wanted before Zach Frazier, right?
Yeah.
But when he was off the board, we were like, all right, Zach Frazier, he's the next available center. And 5 weeks in, considering that Frazier's in his more... Because I always said that Frazier was the more natural center coming out of the draft.
Yeah,
and he's already showcasing that.
Because, obviously, JPJ, Jackson Powers-Johnson specifically, played guard before he moved to center for only one sole season. Frazier played 3 years of center experience heading into the draft. And Frazier's been no problem outside of the snap issues. Hopefully that's resolved. But Jackson Powers-Johnson still, he's strong. He himself is a people mover. He moves his feet very well. He gets into the second level.
Yeah.
But he's going up against Cameron Hayward. And we know Cameron Hayward, I said it last week, Cameron Hayward now, as the vet, he seems like that guy that just welcomes rookies to the NFL, man. He's like that wake-up call. He's like, hey, you're not in the Little League no more. This is the big leagues. And Hayward just welcomes everybody. So he's going to have a big test against Cam Hayward. Our edge depth is bare because T.J. Watt's a dog. T.J. Watt has 4.5 sacks. He should have more. We know why he doesn't have more. Thanks, refs. But T.J. Watt, we know he's going to eat. He's going to eat. We already know he will, hopefully. Opposite of T.J. Watt, it will not be Alex Highsmith. He is out. It will not be Nick Herbig. He is out, unfortunately. And no, it will not even be DeMarvin Leal.
No, he's out.
They're all out. So we're looking at Jeremiah Moon, who just came off IR to be the starting edge guy opposite of Watt.
Fresh off of IR, he's going to be getting his start. I think it would be his first career start, if I'm not mistaken, at least for the Steelers. The edge depth is very bare. It's T.J. Watt and who else? Let's be real.
And Moon looked good in camp. He looked good in preseason, so that's good. It's good. He couldn't get back at a better time. Seriously. But you're probably wondering, well, who's the rotational piece? Who's the depth guy? No, it's not Peyton Wilson. Tomlin has already shut that down, saying he doesn't have the tangibles to play edge. I disagree, but that's Tomlin. So it won't be Peyton Wilson. It won't be Landon Roberts. I think he has the strength to do it, but it will be Isaiah Loudermilk.
The milkman, number 92. Number 92.
Yeah, Isaiah Loudermilk, who got the block last week, the blocked field goal, but he is stiff in the hips. He is not fluid at all. He is slow. He has no burst coming off of that edge.
Yeah, and he's been with the team, I want to say, 5 years now. And me personally, I haven't seen any growth from Loudermilk.
Well,
and that's as a defensive lineman.
Dude, the problem with him is he can't shed blocks.
No.
He can't shed. There's a reason why he's primarily only a special teams guy. He can't shed blocks. And he's going to be the rotational piece. I don't know how often he's going to rotate, but I'll tell you right now, they got to try something else at edge. They got to pick someone up. They got to call Debo again if they have to. They got
Marcus Golden, maybe he's available.
Yeah,
right? He's on the reserve retired list. Maybe, hey, Marcus Golden, you want to come back for one game? You want to go to Vegas?
Just pay him $1 million, but like just unretire for one game. That's all we ask.
Like granted, on that side, the right side, they're going to be against Colton Miller, who I would consider the weak link. Again, 6 sacks on the year already. So, but still, you don't want to underestimate Colton Miller's blocking ability and the fact that he's going up against nobody but Depp.
Yeah.
That might give him the upper hand. Possibly. I don't know. But that's where the depth is going to have to come up big.
Sure.
They have to be crucial with this one.
Could we see a lot more blitz packages?
Potentially, I wouldn't be surprised. Whether they want to blitz from the nickel, maybe they blitz Beanie a little bit more. Maybe they do some safety blitzes with Elliott. Another safety that's hurt is Damontae Casey. He's doubtful. Might as well be downgraded out. Maybe they activate Edmonds and blitz him a little bit more if they get him in there potentially.
So Casey is doubtful too?
Yeah.
So who the hell do we have at nickel? Beanie's not good in coverage. Casey's hurt. Who else do we have at nickel?
Or the more likely scenario is to blitz the interior guys a bit. Blitz Queen, blitz Roberts, blitz Wilson if you have to.
I would blitz Roberts as much as possible. That's what I would do. I would force a lot of interior pressure because no matter who the Steelers are going up against, whether that's Gardner Minshew or that's Aiden O'Connell, they're not excellent at escaping pressure. They're not. They're not quick. I wouldn't underestimate that, but they crack under pressure and they're just not as mobile as you might think. Gardner to an extent, O'Connell not really.
No.
So you got to keep them in the pocket. You got to keep them pressured. And again, the Raiders offense, they have forced at least one turnover every game this season. At least one. 3 last week. They threw a pick 6 to Pat Surtain. I think Surtain had 2 picks overall, I believe.
He had 2 interceptions, yeah.
The Steelers forced 3 turnovers last week. We know this defense is capable of forcing turnovers. So we gotta execute. We gotta get to them. We gotta limit their pass targets, which I would not sleep on. Eddie T with a 499.
We've got 2 words for you.
Thanks, Eddie T. He says, if Fields is the guy like y'all say he is, he should be able to throw 2+ touchdowns against the Raiders. Bo Nix did. I agree.
As a matter of fact, that's another...
Well, he's thrown, 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks?
I believe he has, yeah.
No. Last week, he threw for 1 versus the Colts. But you get my point.
But still, and that's another discussion I want to bring up because Tomlin alluded during the press conference about Russell Wilson.
Really?
He stated that Wilson will be a full participant in practice on Wednesday, which is today, which would be the first time that would be the case this season, obviously, because he's been limited since. And Wilson would start off working with the second team, and Tomlin said that we will see where that leads us. So he's expected to be a full participant. He's going to start off with the second team, and depending on how he progresses in practice, if his calf holds up, maybe he gets a bit of first-team reps in practice, possibly as the weeks go on if his calf holds up. My thing is, would Tomlin give Wilson the nod and sit Fields?
I wouldn't.
Now, I'm saying that because that's just what I'm thinking of what Tomlin could consider. I'm not saying that because I don't think Fields should be benched. Fields, in my opinion, has done nothing to be benched for him to sit.
No. He's made very little mistakes. He's only thrown 1 interception all season so far. Knock on wood. He's made very little mistakes. I feel like the only mistake he really made last week was he almost threw an interception when trying to throw the ball to Van Jefferson. That was a scary throw.
Not only that, but his accuracy wasn't really on point as it was the previous weeks. His decision-making, I feel like some of the passes were a bit forced.
Sure.
And
no, I agree.
But he didn't have a great performance against the Cowboys, despite him throwing 2 touchdowns. Didn't have a good performance in general, but I don't find it as a reason to be like, hey, let's sit Fields. That's not a performance where you bench Fields and go with Wilson because he was the projected starter from day one.
If Fields was playing the way that Gardner Minshew was playing, then yeah, sure, I'd say bench Fields. Fields has been playing like that. I feel like the offense as a whole has been limited due to play calling, due to lack of aggression. Granted, they have drawn up plays and there's lack of execution at the same time. It's just a mix of rough.
2 words for you.
Jonathan Scott with a 2 says, keep seeing report about that we may trade Pickens.
A report?
I haven't seen any reports.
I haven't heard anything about it. I would just consider that a rumor at this point.
I wouldn't think the Steelers trade Pickens until maybe next year.
Well, it just wouldn't make sense to do it this year because they have no number 1 outside of him.
They have nobody. If they want to trade him next year, listen, I love Pickens to death. We know what he can do. I feel like he still has elite talent.
No doubt about it.
But yes, his shenanigans and his problems and his behavior is starting to become a problem. I think the Steelers definitely have a George Pickens problem. I don't blame it all on Pickens. I think the offense isn't doing any favors. I think the scheme isn't doing any favors. And Pickens acknowledges that, which explains his laziness. But I still don't think that's a valid reason for him to be half-assing routes out there. If they want to trade him next year, I don't hate it. I honestly think the Steelers need to completely reevaluate and revamp the wide receiver room.
As long as they have a plan and set.
Everything.
They have an idea in mind. Because you're not just going to make a move just to make a move. Omar Khan's not the type of guy that's going to do that. If he's going to make a move, he's going to have a plan in mind at first. He's going to let it play out in his mind, and he's going to make sure that plan plays out.
But do I want Pickens to be traded? No, because I think his talent is immense. It's great. We all know how good he really is. He just needs to just grow up and stop being lazy. His attitude needs to just...
Yeah, the childish behavior just needs to stop.
And I don't think it will to a huge degree, because if he's acting this way in year 3, then I don't see much change. But to some point, Pickens has to just, be professional. He has to adapt some professionalism. I'm hoping the Steelers have everything that they need to ensure that into Pickens. They got Russell Wilson, who's a leader. They got Mike Tomlin, who is the best coach to probably handle a situation like this. And they got Zach Cassani, who doesn't put up with any bullshit with any receiver ever. So they got the complete support system to put that into Pickens. So I'm hoping at some point
If you're
that's
not down with that,
in him.
Yeah.
we've got
Handy
two
cart with a
words
$4.99.
for you.
Appreciate you, Handy Cart. Let me see. Where's it at?
Andy Carr with $4.99 right here. He said, "Did y'all see Pickens is on a burner account on Twitter? Saying either get a second receiver or trade him. Hope we get Deontay prayer emoji."
No, I haven't seen that.
No, I have not
you seen
heard
that?
I have not heard anything about that. Why would Pickens have a burner account?
Pickens is hardly ever on social media.
Why would he have a burner account?
Pickens is hardly ever on social media.
That doesn't make
He's
any
not
sense
even
to
on
me.
Instagram often, dude.
Now, Pickens is not really... He doesn't come off as a social media type of guy.
No.
So I don't get why he would have a
I
burner
think it's someone
account.
trying to beg for attention, bro. I think it's someone trying to make something bad out of an already rough situation.
He's trying to get engagement or whatnot. That's my speculation.
Engagement
there.
farming.
Yeah.
But, regarding Fields and Wilson, I want to get back to that because there was a report by Jacina Anderson on X, Twitter, this morning, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
She says, and I quote, "A league source on if there's any chance for Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson to be named the starter this week after losing 2 straight games, and with Wilson, who has a calf injury, scheduled to be a full participant in today's practice per the head coach. And I quote, I think Russ has to have a good week of practice for it even to be a consideration. He hasn't substantially practiced since he re-injured his calf.
Right. I mean, that just makes sense.
So he's going to need a legitimate good week. But I don't even think benching Fields is a proper decision right now. The past 2 losses have not been on Fields.
Or the quarterback play in general.
No. The past 2 losses has been because the offense starts slow and they start way too late to even come back. They lack aggression, and the defense can't cover nobody. They allow too many points on the board.
Yeah, listen, like the quarterback play is far from perfect with the Steelers, but it's not the biggest problem. It's not the biggest problem. If Mike Tomlin and the Steelers think, we lost 2 straight because the quarterback play hasn't been up to par, let's just look at Fields. They're handling the 2 losses in a whole team situation in a wrong path.
Right.
They're taking it in a horrible way. That would just be coaching malpractice right there.
Agreed.
That wouldn't make any sense to me. I feel like if you were to sit Fields, you would do him dirty. That's just how it would come off to me.
Well, I'll be real with you, bro. I don't think Russ is going to offer much extra. He's still hurt. He's not going to be able to run the ball like Fields will.
And I don't think it would be smart for Wilson, who's just fresh coming off an injury, for him to just come back for this game, when the possibility of it being re-aggravated is, in my opinion, very high, fresh off coming off the calf.
Right.
It just wouldn't make sense to me. It wouldn't.
No, I'm still going with Fields. And I understand, he's the quarterback. He should lead the offense to prominence, to some scoring. And in a way, he has. But I still think the offense is way too safe to the point Fields doesn't have much opportunity to get aggressive. He doesn't have much to help. He only has 1 target, and that 1 target was limited last week. And everyone else kept dropping passes last week. Hayward dropped 2 passes. Van Jefferson dropped the pass. Pickens dropped the pass. He has no help. He has no fucking ground game. He is the ground game most weeks.
Basically.
The play calling is limited. The play calling is conservative. I just don't think that he has the surround system right now to be able to just put anything up on offense. And that's not Fields' fault. That's the offense as a whole. just being so safe, in my opinion. This is the game where they really got to do it. The proof is in the pudding, man. Look what look what the Raiders have allowed to the Panthers and Broncos. If you don't think you can execute the same, then you clearly don't have any trust in this offense. I mean, myself as a fan, I already don't.
Yeah,
but
me neither.
Them as a coach, come on, bro.
Yeah, I mean, if
they assembled this roster.
Exactly. And if that coaching mentality, if that's how they feel on the players, then the players' demeanor and the confidence is just not going to be up to par as it should be.
No,
because the coaching isn't.
You're only as good as coaching, right? You're only as good as coaching. And right now, coaching has not been good. So if we don't see anything improve, if we don't see no substantial progress here, I don't like the path for the rest of the season. I already get a sense it's going to be the same shit all over again, swear jar. But this is the game, bro, where you guys can literally break out or showcase something or get some points on the board or start throwing the ball down the field. Get a run game going.
Yeah.
Like, you got to open things up.
There's no reason not to.
No.
There's zero excuse, zero reason not to do what the Panthers did with Andy Dalton, what the Broncos did with a rookie quarterback. Like, come on.
Now, at the same time, I'm sure the Raiders are looking at what the Steelers have been doing the past 2 weeks, and they're already thinking, hey, how can we attack that? Jonathan Scott with it too. He says Raiders trying to move Davante Adams in 48 to 24 hours.
24 to 48 hours. The Steelers calling them? I hope so. I'd imagine so.
You know what?
And within that time, because it's Wednesday, within that time, Davante will not be suited to play.
No.
He won't be suited to play because of the hamstring, though I feel like it's fine now, in my opinion. I think it's healed.
No.
And just the fact that, you trade on a short week, so close to a game, you're not playing. So it's as simple as that. Yeah, we'll trade you to that team, but you're not playing against us, so haha.
Oh, yeah, that's what would happen. They wouldn't trade Davante so close to the game where he's able to play.
Yeah, that's what I just stated.
But, like, who do you still think could trade for Adams? I mean, who do you think is still the favorite? Because you look at the Jets situation right now, they just fired Robert Saleh. They have their defensive coordinator as interim.
In dirty fashion, I must say. I feel like Saleh wasn't doing a very good job, don't get me wrong.
No, he
wasn't. But the way
wasn't.
that they fired him, according to reports, was just dirty. Dirty from ownership, dirty from the whole team, the whole organization.
No.
I just felt like they treated him like so wrong.
Yeah, for those that don't know, the way they fired him is he came into the day business as usual. Prepping for who the Jets play this week?
The Bills Monday night.
Monday night, right, yeah. Business as usual. And then he got pulled into the owner's office and said, hey, you're fired. Go fuck yourself. Get out of here. And he was escorted by security.
Yeah, Saleh didn't have time to say his goodbyes to any of his coaching staff, any of his other players, not even Aaron Rodgers. He was not gifted that opportunity. He released a statement early this morning on his feelings about, how he felt about his time with the Jets and the players.
Sure.
But he didn't get the time to be like, go to the players himself that same day and be like, hey, I'm out of here. Goodbye.
Right.
I'm relieved of my duties. No, the owner basically, because the owner never wanted him. His brother is who hired Saleh, not Woody.
Right. But the point is, the Raiders are going through a head coach change already, and it's week 6. Not even. 5 weeks in, they already fired their head coach. So would Adams want to go to an organization that is just as dysfunctional as the Raiders?
Probably.
They just have a quarterback that he's familiar with.
Probably not.
And the Saints. Derek Carr is out for multiple weeks. They're going to have either Spencer Rattler play or Jake Hayner. Lord knows how that's going to be. He wants to go with the Saints because he has, familiarity with Derek Carr. Carr ain't going to play for weeks. So would he want to go to the Saints? And the Saints have been apparently the most aggressive so far. I don't even know how they can pay him, but that's their problem. So could the Steelers be the heavy favorite right now because of those two situations?
Could they be that riser to be the heavy favorite now because of the same situation and just the Jets?
Yeah.
They'll A-Rod's the quarterback. It's just the fact that the organization is terribly handled. Adams is not going to want to be a part of that. He was a part of that for too long in Las Vegas.
Right.
He wants no issue with that. So, yeah, maybe the Steelers are sneaking their way up as the heavy favorite. Maybe Adams is looking the Steelers' direction and is like, they could use me. They need me. Like, I saw that Sunday night game. Didn't look the best, but maybe I could come into the city and to the team and help them out.
Let me put it this way. And this isn't like, anything crazy or, it's like, yeah, like they're the best option right now. They're the most functional for now, but that's not really putting anything crazy out there. That's not really giving them a lot of credit. But at least the Steelers, they have a head coach for the next 3-4 years. And they have 2 quarterbacks in Wilson and Fields right now, compared to the Jets, who don't have a head coach, and A-Rod, they'll be there for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and the Saints, who don't even have their quarterback right now. So the Steelers right now are the most functional team that Adams can go to. That's nothing crazy. That's not really giving Steelers a lot of credit because they themselves aren't very functional. Tomlin hasn't been functional the past couple of years. Yeah, non-losing seasons. What be shit? It's the same game plan every week. Same game plan every year.
Same offense, despite the different cast of characters. But
if you're looking at from a long-term vision, at least they're going to have a head coach for the next couple of years that Adams can still remain and play with and want to play for. The quarterback situation, as of now, we have Fields and Wilson. Lord knows what it's going to be for the rest of the year or for next year, but, at least we have that, I suppose. Yeah, it's not giving them a lot of credit, but at least they have that to tell Adams, like, hey, we got this compared to those teams.
Right.
So maybe that could sway Adams' favor, or that could sway the Steelers into getting Adams. Maybe that could sway Adams going to the Steelers.
Yeah, and despite my feelings about the offense and, just how they have been the past number of weeks, it's just the fact that they need a receiver badly.
Sure.
What I mean by that, they need a guy that can cause separation. Pickens is fine and dandy and all. He's great, but he is not a consistent route runner. He doesn't really get separation all that good.
No, he can to a degree, but don't expect it all the time.
No, don't expect it consistently. Adams, he can consistently, even at his age at 32, he can consistently get separation.
Yeah.
That's what the Steelers need at wide receiver on offense. They need that guy that can get separation, a guy with strong hands, a guy that can get it open, a guy that can be an impact player. Adams is that impact player.
Sure.
His contract and his age, it doesn't worry me one bit. I mean, we got a GM in Omar Khan that was a cap wizard for a living before he was promoted to GM. That's why he got the GM position.
Right.
That's why he got the promotion.
He would be the needle mover, and maybe that'll give the Steelers some confidence to start getting aggressive on offense, knowing they got an elite weapon like Adams. Because they haven't had that since AB. Let's be honest. Every other receiver we had has been mid.
Big time.
They haven't been that impact guy. They haven't been that needle mover. You don't trust them to make plays down the field outside of Pickens. At least with Adams, they kind of have some leeway. They have some trust that, hey, maybe we should start going crazy on offense.
And like X Concept says in chat, also a guy who gives effort.
Correct.
I don't know if that's a dig at Pickens, which it probably is. But, yeah, I mean, Adams is going to give his effort 100% of the time. That's what you want.
Yeah. OD40K in the chat, his question is, how much guaranteed money would you give a soon-to-be 32-year-old Adams on a negotiated deal, 30 mil or 40 mil? Well, probably along the lines of 30 to 40, I would assume. Because he's guaranteed, as of now, $12.6 million. Right now, that'll go down nearly $1 million every week. But for this week, he's guaranteed for the rest of the season $12.6 mil, roughly. He was guaranteed how much this year? Was it 18 something mil?
I think it was something. Here, let me go to Spot Rack real quick. Let me search it up just to double check, make sure.
It was 18 to 20, but I'm sure he would ask for something along those lines. Maybe he gets, I would imagine, somewhere along the lines of 32 to 34 million guaranteed, if not higher. Because you got to guarantee money between those following 2 years of his contract, unless you give him a big guaranteed contract for 2025, and then you have an opt-out option in 2026. That could be how it works. Or they could backlog it. They could have opt-out years.
All right, I got up here right now. If I can scroll.
Yeah, what was his guaranteed this year?
The cap hit was a little over 25 million. The guarantee, I guess it doesn't say right here, does it? Or am I missing it? I guess it doesn't say right here. I thought it did.
I'm going to find it for you. In 2024,
Let's try that one.
he was guaranteed 16.89 mil.
Okay.
So almost 17 mil. So yeah, I would anticipate something similar along the lines if he were to get an extension with the Steelers.
Now keep in mind, the Raiders want a second round pick plus additional cap, and they want the team to completely take full responsibility of that contract. Like, the Raiders want no responsibility
Sure.
of that money, of that contract.
But that's why they're not going to get a second rounder.
No, it's,
Like
just,
they
it's
want.
just too much to ask for a team. It's too much. If the Raiders are going to trade Davante Adams, and you know Adams is going to want out, the Raiders are going to have to take the best offer. At most, it's going to be a third-round pick, at most, for the team to
A third and other assets.
take full responsibility of that contract.
Right.
They're not going to get a second. That's just asking for way too much. The Raiders are going to have to take the best offer that they're offered. No team's giving up a second.
No, not if they got to take all that contract. It's not happening. A trade will happen. No one knows when. They want to do it sooner rather than later. If he does get traded this week, if it is to the Steelers, I wouldn't anticipate him playing. The Raiders aren't going to trade him so far from the game where he's eligible to play. They will trade him probably closer to the end of the week. That way he cannot play.
Yeah.
So say probably like Thursday, Friday, that he gets traded. Well, he can't play, but he'll play next week versus the who we play after this? Isn't it the Jets? Pretty sure it's the Jets, right?
I believe it is, yeah. Let me double check.
Right.
It would be the Jets, and that would be at Heinz Field.
Yeah, in prime time.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
Another Sunday night game.
Yeah. Oh God, will that be delayed too?
I hope not.
Hope not. Especially
October
with this,
20th, there better be no rain.
No, especially with this hurricane coming around. If you guys are involved, or if you guys are in any area of that hurricane, Hurricane Milton, I think it is.
Yeah, just please be safe.
God Almighty, that terrifies me. Category 5 is what they're saying, dude. That's nuts, unbelievable. And we just got done with another hurricane, Hurricane Helene.
I know.
Just like last week, 2 weeks ago.
Back-to-back hurricanes, it's a scary situation. So anybody that has been involved in that situation or could be involved in that situation, I hope you guys are fine, and please be safe out there.
Yeah, prayers to you guys. That's terrible. Hopefully it just misses. But I heard it's supposed to make like landfall around Friday, maybe sooner.
I heard today.
Today, oh God,
I heard today.
God. You know, the videos on social media are going to be going crazy, so it's not good. So if you guys are in that path, if you guys are in the direction, find shelter, stay safe, and stack up. It's awful, man. Natural disasters are just an unfortunate, circumstance.
Yeah, the most scariest.
But in regards to this game, man, for the Steelers and Raiders, I still anticipate the Raiders to play us tough. I anticipate this game to be close. I do not anticipate this offense to do what they need to do. I don't anticipate this offense to open things up, even though they have all of the possibilities to do so. The Raiders are awful. The Raiders offer nothing. They are so dysfunctional. Their front office doesn't even agree with each other.
No.
They don't. None of them just are on the same page whatsoever. The
No.
Raiders are bad.
From the office to the field, it's just a bad organization.
But I do anticipate the Raiders to be tough because they always play the Steelers tough. It's at home. And no matter who the starting quarterback's going to be, they're going to want to get the targets to Myers. They're going to want to get the ball to Bowers especially. That's where the defense is going to have to step up and play their best ball. Jonathan Scott with a 1.
We've got 2 words for you.
He don't even say nothing, so appreciate you, John.
Thanks, John.
But the defense, they got to play better. They got to cover more. They got to play more man. The communication has to be a lot better in this game. They got to get to the quarterback. They only have Watt. They got Benton. They got Hayward. They might blitz a little more. But I would anticipate the fact that Highsmith and Herbig are out and they're relying on depth pieces on that left side. They're probably going to do everything they can to limit Watt because I don't know if anyone else can step up in that regard unless we run a lot more blitz. Perhaps that's how the game goes. Maybe they double, triple team Watt as much as they can and they try to eliminate him from the game, very much like the Colts did. And then the Steelers adjust and they run a lot more blitz packages to just make up for the fact that they are trying to limit Watt and no one else can make plays opposite. So Jeremiah Moon's getting his first career start. I don't know how he's going to do, but he's going to have to step up big time. Everyone along that D-line and that pass rush is going to have to put on their A game. And that includes Benton, that includes Ogunjobi, and, of course, Hayward. Because they're going to be relied a lot more on this game because the opposite edge piece, he's coming off IR. I don't think they would anticipate a lot much. And the Raiders aren't going to fear that.
No, they're not.
So they're going to put all their eggs on slowing down Watt. And hopefully the secondary can deliver. Hopefully the secondary can cover. And if they can't, it could be a long day for the defense.
Defense has got to bounce back. The communication's got to be on point, and they have to come out and just attack.
Yeah. As for the offense, bro, just can we start faster? Can we get a little more aggressive? Can we get down the field? Can we get in the end zone? Can Fields have his best game to date yet? Can we get Pickens involved and get him involved early? Can we get some running lanes? Can this offensive line step up? Can we slow down Max Crosby? It's a lot of questions.
And I know, we have a lot of injuries throughout the team, but mainly on offense and especially in that running game. But still, like, you have the tools, you have the ways to be productive and just be a progressive offensive team. Just next man up, and you just got to get out there and do the work. You have to execute.
Agreed.
The poor execution, that's got to be limited. That's got to stop. The sloppiness and the laziness and the conservativeness, that's all got to be limited. I will continue to say it till I'm blue in the face. You have to strike. You have to attack. You have to start off hot. You do these slow starts only for you to come back. You're not going to come back every time.
And I think everyone here in the chat, and us too, I don't think we're expecting that in this game. We have a favorable matchup, but I mean, they've had a favorable matchup almost every game this season, and they did what they've done. So I don't anticipate anything crazy from this offense. I just hope that they win this game. I don't care how they win, but they can't go into Vegas and lose 3 straight. That would be terrible.
No, there's no doubt about they need a bounce back. They desperately need a bounce back win.
They need to get as many wins as they can before the bye. That includes versus the Raiders, that includes versus the Jets, and then eventually the Giants before the bye.
Yeah.
They got to continue to stack wins because we all know that second half of the schedule is a nightmare. The more losses that we suffer, the worse it's going to look after the bye. We can't lose to the Raiders.
No. If we do, I mean, at that point, I don't even know. I just know we're going to be in a bad position going throughout the rest of the season. I just know.
Yeah, I mean, that's my fear. It already is. Last week kind of exposed that, hey, this is just the same game plan, the same
movie
idea.
Same song and dance, same meal.
Just different coaches, different quarterbacks. Nothing new.
Yeah.
Just extra variety on offense, but nothing new. No execution, nothing, no attack, no life. That needs to be better in this game from everybody. Everybody, and that does include Justin Fields. I thought Fields had a decent game last week. He had some rough patches. He had some rough looks. He had some rough throws. He's going to have to improve in this game. I don't think Russ is close to being healthy, but we'll see what his participation is, man. If he's full today and full all week, that is a huge indication that he is on his way back. So if Fields can just continue to lead this offense to something decent, if he does well enough, he will prove to Tomlin that he remains to be the starter. If he doesn't and it gets worse, then Russ will eventually be inserted the starter. So I feel like these next couple weeks are going to be huge for Justin Fields. I'm rooting for him. He's still the quarterback one, in my opinion. Everyone as a whole needs to do better. Otherwise, it might not be long till we see Russell Wilson. I feel like Tomlin does want to see him as the starter at some point. He's still the starter on the depth chart. He hasn't said that, hey, we're just going to go with Fields no matter what. But once Wilson's healthy, it wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Tomlin just says, hey, we're going to go with him. So Fields, man, he's going to have to really step up in these next couple games.
No, big time.
Wilson's only going to get healthier. He's only going to be due for a comeback. And at that point, yeah, we might be looking at Russell Wilson. We might be riding with Wilson. So I'm hoping Fields and everybody just step up. They do a lot better, and they do enough to win the game. And by enough, I mean, like, don't do enough like you've been doing the last couple weeks. Let's just do better. I'm not anticipating 30 points. I'm not expecting the most electric offense in the world. We don't have the system to do it. Tomlin will not allow that. He plays too safe. But fuck, can we get something going?
Just something convincing, you know what I mean?
I don't even think we're going to get that.
Just something that's going to give the offense life, something that's going to give the offense purpose, something that's going to give the Steelers a meaningful win.
Dude, this offense, this scheme is never going to be enough to win a championship. But
that's a foregone conclusion in my mind until Tomlin's gone.
Sure, but that they have the tendencies to get down the field to make the plays necessary.
And that's the thing, that they have it. I have no doubt in my mind that they have it. They could add a little more for sure, and they need to. But they have the capabilities of doing what we would like to see more of.
Agreed. It's up to the coaches to draw it up, and it's up to the players to execute. So I'm hoping the coaching opens everything, and the players can make an impact.
That's all we can hope for. That's all we can hope for at this point.
I'm hoping, man.
Let's just see what they do come Sunday in Allegiant Stadium, down in Las Vegas against the Raiders for Week 6.
And for the love of God, I am begging you. I'm legitimately going to pray right now. Please don't lose this game. Please don't lose this game. If we lose to the Raiders, bro, you might as well pack the season. And I'm being serious. Because after this, we got the Jets. Then we got the Giants, both in primetime, back-to-back primetime matchups. We got the bye, which is going to be very necessary for a lot of us. Then we got the Commanders. You see what Jaden Daniels is doing?
I see what the whole team's doing.
You got all six of the divisional matchups. You got the Eagles and the Chiefs. You can't lose this game.
No, you can't.
You cannot lose this game. I know it's any given Sunday, but
now this is a crucial game. Based off the last 2 weeks, the last 2 losses, this is a crucial game for Pittsburgh. They can't afford to lose.
I'd say it's must win. Can you imagine we start 3-0 and then by week 7 we're 3-3?
That would just be depressing. That's my fear. Especially to a team like the Raiders in their territory. It could be the worst loss of the season thus far if Dallas wasn't it.
Dallas was the most heartbreaking. Losing to the Raiders would be the worst loss so far.
Yeah. I don't want that.
None of us do, man. We don't want to go into Sunday Night Football,
another primetime game,
and have the bad taste of a loss to the Raiders again. Like honestly, dude, like if we lose to the Raiders, it would give me 2018 vibes all over again. And that was bad. That Raiders team was bad. And they had Derek Carr.
They were a tanking team.
Well, at that point, we thought they were. They didn't look tanking in that game.
I still considered them tanking, but, when it came to the Steelers, they're like, we'll try this one time. When it comes to the Steelers, they always will. The Davis family just don't like the Steelers.
Well, I don't like Davis either.
I don't like that haircut of his. The Steelers need to kick down the door and scare the hair off of Davis. That's what they need to do.
Yeah. That patchy little bowl cut he's got. Dork. Anyway, that's the Steelers versus Raiders preview.
You know what, Steelers? Just win, baby. Just win.
Oh, God. Right? That's funny.
At this point, that's all I'm asking for. Just win, and then just work your way from there.
Dude,
okay?
We don't even know who their starting quarterback is right now.
That's one of the biggest concerns I have coming into this game. Like, how do you game plan against who? Could it be a situation where the Raiders just make a game time decision of who's the quarterback?
They got to double the film. They got to look at the Colts game last year when they faced Gardner, and Gardner kind of
cooked us.
He
cooked us with backups.
And then you got to look at what O'Connell's been doing the past couple of years with the Raiders. You got to double the film. You got to double the effort.
You got to double the work. That's just what you got to do.
You got to pressure the quarterback. It's as simple as that. You know your secondary has miscommunication issues. You know they can't cover nobody. You know you can't cover the middle of the field. So you got to get to the quarterback. And for the love of God, if we get any turnovers in this game, can we score a touchdown off of them?
Yeah, off three turnovers, we scored one time last week. Not capitalizing is a big key that they got to do. Whatever the Steelers defense gives you, you got to capitalize. And I mean ASAP.
Wow. The Ravens lost to the Raiders. It isn't going to be a walk in the park. No, it's not. It's never a walk in the park. It never is. But yes, the Raiders beat the Ravens. So the Raiders, man, they're not to be underestimated. They have an awful team. They're one of the worst in the league. They definitely have the worst quarterback situation in the league. But they are not to be underestimated at all.
Not one bit. Nope.
No, and that terrifies me heading into this game. It really does. So we'll see what happens. At the end of the day, yeah, we got to get a win. We got to go 4-2 before we head into primetime again versus the Jets. So how you guys feeling about this game, man? Give us your guys' thoughts about how you're feeling in the live chat. Any score predictions? What's your score prediction? Rob, what is your score prediction?
Well, I stated, before we got into the preview that I envision this being heavily defensive and low scoring, whether that's the defense standing out for both teams or the offense from both teams just being lackluster. Score prediction, I would probably go with, honestly, maybe a 17 to 14 game.
What, Steelers or Raiders?
If you're not down with that,
Well, Eddie T with a
we
199.
got 2 words for you.
Eddie T with a 199 says Steelers win back in first place AFC North. Yeah, because I think the Ravens and Steelers are tied first place, but I think right now the Ravens are first place.
I'll be real with you. I haven't looked at the standings.
Technically, I know the Bengals and Browns are both 1 and 4. Cleveland teams.
Dude, the Browns are awful.
And the Bengals, I mean, they haven't had a great start.
Yes. Yes, you're correct, because let's say the Ravens win versus the Commanders and the Steelers beat the Raiders. Well, the Steelers would still be first place because at least they beat the Raiders and the Ravens didn't. They would have that conference dub over them. So correct.
Yeah.
They would be first place.
Yeah.
That
true.
alone is must win.
That's
Okay.
enough. That's enough motivation to get you to win this game.
Dude, the more wins we stack up, the better we stand when we have to face all 6 division winners or all 6 division games in the second half of the season. We got to stack these dubs.
Well, considering the fact that after week 3, we were 3-0, sitting up top very well at the AFC North, and the Ravens were 1-2.
Yes. The Ravens have won 3 straight.
Yes, they have.
3 straight. The Browns are hilarious. They've lost 3 straight. There's no saving the Browns.
Yeah, that brings me great joy. It does.
There's no saving the Browns. You see what Stephen A. said on First Take?
Mm-hmm.
That was hilarious. For those that don't know, for those that haven't seen, he said that if we could arrest Deshaun Watson for being a bad quarterback or for bad quarterback play, he would. But that's what you would arrest him for? Out of everything?
Yeah, I was about to say that wouldn't be the one thing I arrest him for, but you know, that's a valid argument. I got to give Stephen A. that. Like, you're that bad at football.
He's bad. He had 8.6 quarterback rating.
You are basically Kenny Pickett over there.
Oof.
Where's the lie?
Oof. I'm gonna go score prediction. I'm gonna say the Steelers win. What's the over under? 36, I believe.
Yeah, well, in the pick'ems that we're
36.
doing with our buddy Matt.
Mac, yeah. Ginger Mac Sports, shout to him.
Yes, I said Vegas.
You chose Vegas?
I said Vegas. Though I don't know.
How dare you?
I don't know.
How dare you?
I just chose Vegas because, you know, maybe reverse psychology, right?
Sure.
Because week 1, I chose Atlanta because I didn't know what to expect from the Steelers at that time, and the Steelers ended up winning. So maybe it's some reverse psychology right there.
I haven't. Yeah, sure.
Last 2 games I had the Steelers winning, and they both lost. So
Well, I haven't picked against the Steelers in my pick'ems all year. So I'm gonna go Steelers win.
okay.
Score prediction. I'm gonna go. Fuck.
You don't even know.
20-13. It's gonna be close.
What did I say, 17-14? Okay, but because of my pick'em, I said Vegas, but I'm hoping it's some reverse psychology kind of stuff right there.
Well, I'll tell you right now. It's definitely gonna be the under.
No doubt in my mind.
It's definitely going to be the under.
No doubt. It's going to be the
Let
under.
us know you guys' picks and your score predictions down in the comments while we do a quick ad break. I want to thank BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring today's live stream. Today's Steelers versus Raiders preview for Week 6. As you see, they have a 150% sign-up bonus. Only first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150. When signing up today at BetUS.com, if you guys are looking for a new sports book this year, look no further than BetUS as we take a look at the betting odds for the Steelers and the Raiders. The total, the over-under is 36, but the Steelers are 3-point favorites. So my score prediction was 20-17. So you could pick the under and you could pick the Steelers spread. If they win by 3 or more points, you cover the spread. Even their money line. I mean, if you feel very confident that the Steelers could win, pick the money line. However, if you think the Raiders could pull off the upset, it's been upset season, but if you think the Raiders could pull off the upset, you can take their money line. So choose wisely, but I'm still going to go with the Steelers, man. In fact, we have the betting lines right here. So I said I was going to take you know what? Yeah, let's take the spread. And let's take the under. Because I really do feel like that's going to be the case. I think we win by 3 or more, and I do think that is the under. So let's put, since the Steelers and Raiders, in the last time we played something, we're gonna go 32 again, unless you want to go a different wager.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
I think that's fine.
Okay, we'll go with 32. We're going to place and we're going to confirm this. You guys want to tail this, feel free to do so at betus.com. Again, take advantage of all the great perks plus that 150% deposit bonus, sign-up bonus, profit as well. So feel free to do that. Thanks to BetUS Sportsbook for sponsoring this live stream. Just please gamble responsibly.
Yeah, 32 is just the perfect amount. You know what I mean?
Bewick said this is going to be a tie, 13-13.
Yo, if the Steelers tie...
24-17 Raiders. I lost faith, says MLK Reptiles Ken.
I don't blame you for having that
28-10 Raiders?
Okay, if that happens, then we got some issues.
Oh, you better fire Tomlin. And
That
I'm not
sign will
playing.
be, if that's the case, that sign will be back up for the recap. Probably beforehand, probably halftime. If that's the case, my God.
I might literally push my fingers into my eyes.
Just to end the misery. I get it.
It would be the only thing that stops the ache. I'll tell you that.
Or just take your contacts out so you don't have to see it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Just take your contacts off.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we lose 28-10 on Sunday, I'm literally going to take my contacts out live and just not watch the game because I won't be able to see.
I'll be the one that
My vision
announces the game, whatever.
My vision is so blurry that I would literally do that. I wouldn't be able to watch the game.
I mean, I can't see without my glasses. Like, if I were to take them off right now, everything, even Dan right here, would be blurry. So I'd probably do the same thing, but one of us got to commentate.
Yeah.
And he can't if he takes the contacts off, so I would have to suffer. Oh, well.
Double Pickens and gang tackle Najee. How will the Steelers score? Fields. Fields. He has, 3 rushing touchdowns this year?
Yeah. Going on 5 passing touchdowns as well.
That is your only hope. No, Muth maybe.
There's been times where Fields has basically been the offense. There's been times. Not the best, but I mean, when we needed somebody to step up, that has been Fields. He's been able to showcase that athleticism.
Yeah. I feel like they need to use the tight ends more, though, man.
They do.
They got 4 tight ends on the roster. They got more targets to Hayward than they did Muth last week. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, Muth's had back-to-back games with touchdowns.
Get him involved.
Especially in that red zone. They've done it the past 2 weeks. Keep it going. Be continuous with it.
X Concept says, Twins, can you explain the false starts? They throw the flag before our offense even lines up, and the announcers say nothing at all, like it's a cover-up. What makes it a false start before they line? I don't know. Not a clue. Vegas called. I don't know. That's my best explanation.
It's the refs, dude. It's the refs. I mean, it's just how they're typically going to do. Maybe they have wagers on the game. I don't know. Maybe it's fancy.
Well,
lineups.
I'll tell you right now.
I don't know.
I'll tell you right now. Every wager I pick, Vegas calls and does the exact opposite of what I need.
Chris Olave.
I know.
I'm
One
sorry
catch.
about that.
One catch. And the one big catch he had was on a false start. Wow. I'm having no luck as a Steelers fan in my parlays and fantasy. Although I've won 4 straight in the Discord league. Shout out to the Discord. I've won 4 straight. But
it's talking about fantasy, no luck. No luck this year.
I lost the work league because I didn't put in Burrow.
I lost the work league because my running backs suck, and I got Breece Hall and Devin Achante. How?
Ew. You mean Achin or whatever?
Achin, whatever.
However you pronounce his last name? I don't
Dude,
know.
I'm not good with last names or names in general. I just announced it the way I think it sounds. Okay?
Now I can't get Mark Davis's Beatles haircut out of my head. The
Beatles?
Yeah. That's
a good one.
That's funny. Dude, I mean, every time you look at a picture of Mark Davis, you're like, dude, how does he go outside? He looks like
a kindergartner.
He looks like a dork.
You know that one picture of the kid that makes the funny face with the apple? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
The one that, like someone tells you something or is smart with you and then you mock. That's the caption and it shows that kid's face. The hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's his hair.
Oh, yeah.
That's his. I guarantee you that was him as a kid.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about. That funny facing base.
I swear to Christ, that's him.
It sure looks like it. Let's see. What's the poll at? Who trades for Adams? 108 votes. 46% of you guys say the Steelers. 40% say the Jets. So you guys still think the Jets are a viable option?
You know, the way that the management is and the owner is, it won't surprise me. Hey, let me fire my head coach that I never won and I never liked and didn't really trust the process with. I'm going to I'm going to fire him. So I have full command. I have full saying. And then I'm just going to trade whatever for Davante. That would be a total Jets move. And I'm telling you, the Davante Adams to the Jets is the last thing that they need.
They got other issues.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, 40 years old, threw 2 picks in London.
Yeah.
No.
They got other issues. They got
issues.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that they can't run the ball for some reason, and they got 2 stud backs. They're dead last.
Hold on, you talking about the Jets or us?
The Jets.
No, they're talking about us because
No.
I mean, we're kind of in a similar situation. Maybe,
yeah, of course.
Maybe he should just go to the Saints or the Bills or maybe the Ravens.
No.
Maybe he goes back to the Packers. I don't know.
Green Bay could use him.
I don't know, man.
Green Bay could really use him. Although Jaden Daniels is really standing out.
Jaden Daniels is the dog, but they got no one else outside of him. Wicks doesn't do much. Christian Watson's always hurt. Shit, maybe the Packers swoop in.
Well,
You never know.
They're the youngest team in the NFL, I believe. If it's not them, it's the Rams. But yeah, they could use a veteran receiver.
I doubt it. It's just, I guess if he wants to play with a quarterback he's familiar with, Jordan Love kind of fits that.
I think it's either the Jets, the Saints, or the Steelers. But I think after what transpired last week, despite the Steelers' performance, when it comes to an organization standpoint and a quarterback standpoint, maybe the Steelers are the heavy favorite now. Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll have to wait however long it takes, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to end the poll here. Let me see. Hate the way our team is becoming a mediocre team. Our biggest flex is we don't have losing seasons. Oh, we don't have losing seasons. No one feels threatened by us. No, Brandon, you're absolutely correct. No one feels threatened whatsoever.
Nope.
No, man. We used to be intimidating. Now everyone just laughs at us. We're just so utterly predictable.
No, nobody takes the team seriously. Nobody looks at the Steelers as a legitimate threat.
No, man. And after last week, that's kind of confirmed my fears that, hey, this is just the same team all over again, same game plan, just different cast members in certain areas. That's it. That's it. But I'm begging to God this is not the case this week. I got a bad feeling. I always have a bad feeling going up against the Raiders. I wouldn't call this a trap game because
we lost 2 straight.
But we can't lose this game, right? Right?
Well, it says it in the title. No way the Steelers lose.
I don't know.
Right?
Man. We just win this game, bro. Listen, man, at this point, I don't care how you win. I don't care how ugly it is. Just win. I don't want to be depressed. You know what I mean? That would be bad. That would put me in a different type of state as a Steelers fan. And I've been in every state possible you can think of, every state of mind you could think of, especially the last couple of years. But we can't lose this game, man.
No way.
No. Mediocre. They lost by 3. What the fuck? Our whole O-line and edge depth plus quarterback 1 is hurt, and they're still competing. Fans are so entitled. They're mediocre.
Don't let the numbers fool you, dude. Don't let the numbers fool you.
They're mediocre because of coaching. Coaching is not threatening. Coaching fails to do anything substantial. Coaching refuses to do anything of aggressive, of an aggressive nature. Their roster's great. I love the roster. I love the draft we've had the last 2 years. I like the pieces we have on the roster.
It's just loaded with potential, Jesus.
It is. The coaching it's been the biggest problem.
What I've seen Omar Khan done as GM, he hasn't been perfect. He's made some knucklehead moves, but what he has done, bringing the talent and being aggressive in free agency and the draft, making moves in the draft, he's given Tomlin these caliber of talent with so much potential. He's given them on a silver platter, and Tomlin is just kind of like playing with his food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a gourmet meal on that platter. He's just kind of playing with it.
Right.
I don't get it.
Well, Mike says there's no reverse psychology in my prediction. I predicted the Cowboys last week. I don't see much improvement showing up on Sunday, and their record on the road doesn't favor victory. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's my worry too, man. Reverse psychology? I don't know.
I don't know, man. We need to keep Gardner on the ground. I agree. If he even starts. If he doesn't, well, same thing applies for O'Connell. Who's their better quarterback? I don't know. It really shouldn't matter because the defense should eat. I know we don't have 3 of our edge pieces, playing. They're all out, but
What would you consider a difference between Gardner and O'Connell?
I don't know.
Maybe Gardner,
Mustache.
Aura, if he has any left.
No, he doesn't.
I guess mobility. He can scramble if he needs to. In that resort, they may lean on Gardner for this one, though they benched him. So I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know how Pierce handles that situation. That's for him to figure out.
Gardner is mobile to an extent. O'Connell, I feel like he's just running in quicksand. He's like stuck in mud or something. But
kind of like a statue. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Gardner to an extent can run the ball. He doesn't do it often, but if he has to scramble, if he sees an opportunity, he will run it.
Well, one thing's for sure. Both of them play like backup quarterbacks. No doubt.
What were the Raiders thinking going into this season? They got the same OC that was the Bears OC the last 2 years with Fields that did nothing. They didn't help Fields out.
It failed.
And they signed Gardner Minshew. And they didn't draft a quarterback.
I remember.
What were they thinking?
I remember shortly after the draft, apparently the Raiders were hoping that Jaden Daniels would fall.
They're delusional.
Or maybe they tried to trade up, which I imagine they did. Maybe they just weren't aggressive. Or they didn't want to trade up so much. But then again, like, look at them right now. And look at the Commanders.
Wow.
So, was it worth it? Obviously not.
Well, all that put together is exactly why I'm fearful for this game. Just spells like, hey, get ready. It's going to happen again. 2018 all over again. God, I hope that's not the case. I really hope it's not the case, man. It doesn't help we got so many injuries in the running back room, in the edge depth, miscommunication, coaching fails.
Yeah, I can't wait for the backup tight end to catch a game-winning touchdown.
Oh, God. Who was that anyway?
Was that Lee Smith back in 2018? Was that him?
I don't know. That's a name I haven't heard of in a while.
I'm not going to lie. That's the only memory I have of that game, outside of Ben coming out.
Regardless, I'm going to go into this game with a little bit of a positive mindset, hoping we can come out with a dub. But if we lose to this, dude, I don't know. I just don't know how to feel about the rest of the season, except that might as well wrap it up. Because I'm not expecting any adjustments come after this game or after the bye or during the bye. In the past couple of years, we haven't seen such, so I'm just not going to expect any difference. I'm going to expect more of the same.
And if that's the case, Tomlin will just give us a nice fancy word salad like he did after the Cowboys. You know what he said?
Something about wine or something?
Yeah, you know, there's a fine line between drinking wine and squashing grapes.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Whatever the ingredients are for that hot dog, I don't like it.
What does that even mean?
Is he still squirreling those nuts? How many more Tomlinisms are there, huh?
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Like, what is his analogy there?
Is that his fancy way of saying, yeah, we sucked in this game? Just flat out and say it.
I don't know.
There's no sugarcoating it. Like, just be blunt.
You know, I feel like years past, we would go into games like this and expect something better, expect something, you know, of life, perhaps. Although, I mean, I feel like the last however many years, 10, 12 years now, we've always went into games like this fearing, you know,
the worst.
Yeah.
Fearing the worst.
But at least in the past couple years, we kind of had a glimmer of hope that, you know, maybe we get something going. Now, granted, when I talk about that, I'm talking of when we had Ben. We don't have that no more, so I'm just going to go into this game. I'm going to go into this game thinking positively. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm hoping we come out with a victory. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see how that happens. With that being said, hard work will get you wine. Sloppy work will get you nowhere, just squashing. I guess it's up to us to interpret what he's talking about. I mean, that's the best explanation I can think of. So digital dust. I appreciate that. Is George out this game? You mean Pickens? No, Pickens will play.
No, Pickens. You're not going to have Pickens inactive.
If it was up to you guys, what would have been the best year for Tomlin to walk away? Ooh, good question.
What year?
Yeah, like if there was ever a year he had to walk away and leave, what do you think it would have been?
I mean, last year was very evident. But if I had to say before that, probably 2020. I probably would have said 2020.
2021. After Ben retired.
After Ben retired?
Clean sweep everything.
Yeah.
That
I get that.
That would have been the best, I think. It would just clean sweep everything.
I get that.
Because they were going to go with the one last ride, quote unquote, with everybody. And it wasn't no fucking ride. It was just disastrous. We knew nothing was going to come of it. It wasn't going to be another better situation, even though people thought about it. It wasn't going to be that. But after 2021, I felt like, yeah, that would have been the best time to just clean sweep everything. Just a whole new scenery, whole new era.
I get that mentality.
So
yeah.
I would say 2021.
Yeah.
But Robert says he'll be at the game on Sunday. He'll be in Vegas. So, Robert, I hope you enjoy yourself, and I hope you give the Steelers some good luck in the chat. Or, not the chat, the crowd.
Listen, man, have a blast. Enjoy yourself.
If any of you guys are going to the Steelers game this week or next week or any game this year, man, hope you guys enjoy yourselves. We've only been to one game so far in our lifetime. It's a blast. Win or loss, it's a blast, but I hope that you guys go to a game and get the best from the team. That way you can enjoy yourselves even more. But it's always a fun time going to a game. It's always fun going to a stadium, being in that environment, just feeling everything, feeling the aura of the environment. It's great, man. It's unlike anything else. It's kind of hard to explain unless you experience it.
Of course, big time.
It's just a experience that you got to have at least once in your life. Even if you don't think it's worth it, or oh my God, you're paying $300, $400 for nosebleeds. It's the experience that you can't describe.
It's unlike any other feeling, especially, when you're a passionate football team like me and Dan here with the Steelers. When you go to to a game and you're in that environment and you feel everything, it's a different type of feeling. It really is.
It is.
It's something that, again, like Dan said, it can't be explained, but it's something that you have to experience for sure. So whoever's going to the game, whether you're a Steelers fan, Raiders fan, have a good time, make the best of it. Just enjoy yourself. Make the most out of it.
Agreed. Is Russell Wilson playing on Sunday, SteelTwins, or stick with Fields? And I hate to say my team Raiders beat Pittsburgh. We'll see. I don't think Wilson plays this week. He might be elevated to the number 2 quarterback, depending on his participation. I don't think he plays. But depending on how the game goes, depending on how the offense goes, and depending on if we win or lose, or how the offense does, or how Fields does, we could see Wilson.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
But Schefter did announce who the Steelers can expect to face against the Raiders at quarterback. Schefter just announced right now that Antonio Pierce has announced that Aiden O'Connell will start.
I put the wrong guy in the thumbnail.
Against the Steelers.
Put the wrong guy in the thumbnail.
Oh, well, he can stay there. He can stay there.
Okay.
He's got more aura than Connell anyway.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Aiden O'Connell versus Justin Fields will be your quarterback matchup.
Wow, so much see, dude. Steelers, Raiders, so much history together. You got Justin Fields versus Aiden O'Connell, man. You're really missing out. You're really going to miss out, guys. For any NFL fan watching.
Well, there you go. Game plan's the same. You got to pressure the guy. He is not mobile whatsoever, and you got to force him to make mistakes. You threw 7 picks last year, I believe. Get to him.
If I see this guy evade pressure and run for like 20 yards, I'm going to throw in the towel. Straight to the camera. I swear to God.
Please don't speak that into existence. This guy is
You
not...
think I'm kidding?
Dude, this guy is not mobile at all. So I am begging you, blitz. Force him into the pocket, and he will crumble. That's all you got to do on defense. It's all you got to do. Don't allow him to hit Bowers. Don't allow him to hit Myers. Don't allow him to hit Madison. Don't allow him to hit Tucker. Otherwise, good God almighty. You got to get to O'Connell.
Yep.
Pressure is the key to victory. So, I'm glad we got that confirmation right before. Is he decent? I don't know. I mean, maybe. In fact, you know what? Actually, you know what? That terrifies me even more because the Steelers don't do good against quarterbacks like that. They do poor against backup quarterbacks.
I'll say this about Connell. When he came in, when Garoppolo was benched, he wasn't overly better, but he was better. I mean, anybody can be better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Sure.
But he was still, like, turnover heavy. He wasn't really throwing touchdowns here and there. He played like a backup, let me just say that. But that scares me. That's my fear.
That scares me.
Even if it's against we played a backup in Joe Flacco.
I know.
Okay?
Well, Joe Flacco was a vet that knew how to torch defense. It still does. You know what I mean?
Still don't mean that I'm going to underestimate a second-year backup quarterback.
No, man, especially since, they're probably going to they're not going to force the ball into his hands often. They're not going to keep the ball in his hands very long. So, and if we play more soft zone, it's kind of easy what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's very easy.
With his targets, yeah.
The Steelers
That's
don't
my
have
worry.
the Steelers don't have the edge piece opposite Watt to gain consistent pressure. So, honestly, that actually terrifies me even more. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, here we go, Steelers. Thank you guys for joining us this afternoon for the Steelers versus Raiders preview. Always great to go live in the chat with the chat. And hopefully we get another victory, man. Really hope we do. It's Wednesday, so it's midweek. So you guys enjoy the rest of your week. You guys finish it strong. If you guys are doing anything for the rest of the week, hope you guys enjoy yourselves. We got Thursday Night Football tomorrow. That should be interesting. We will not be watching that live because we'll be at a movie theater. So that's going to be a good time. So you guys enjoy yourselves this week. Make it a strong one. And we got the Steelers versus Raiders on Sunday. You guys know we'll be live for that. Otherwise, we'll see what the participation is for a lot of people this week. For Warren, for KZ, for Wilson, for guys like that. That's really going to be interesting to see. Hopefully Warren improves in participation and we see him at some point, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Otherwise, thank you guys for joining us. Thanks to BetUS Sportsbook and Casino for sponsoring this live stream. Check them out, betus.com today. Go take advantage of that 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 when you use the promo code YouTube150 when signing up again at betus.com today. Thank you guys for joining us. Here we go, Steelers, and for the love of God, don't lose this game. Pressure O'Connell, get Pickens involved, and let's get something going on offense.
Just win, baby.
For the love of God.
Let's just get a win.
Let us know your guys' thoughts. Appreciate you guys. You guys enjoy the rest of your week. You guys have a great rest of your day. Enjoy yourselves this week. See you guys in the next one. Here we go, Steelers.
And as always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
Let's get Davante Adams, bro.
Yeah, go get Adams. Go get Adams. For the love of God, go
Whether
get
it's
Adams.
before this game or after this game, you got to get Adams. Because I do not want to face Adams come Sunday night.
No.
After
Oh
the
God,
Raiders.
that could be bad. We might have to face Adams nonetheless. Oh shit. Yeah, you're right.
I don't want that.
Go get Adams.
Please.
Yeah.